Let's not sugarcoat it. Your mom is in danger, not from something you can see or touch, but from a person who is manipulating her heart and draining her bank account. What she thinks is a caring relationship may actually be a calculated con. This isn't love. This is fraud, plain and simple. And while it's easy to look at the surface and dismiss it as gullibility, the truth runs much deeper. Scammers don't just go after money. They go after emotional security, trust, and the deepest vulnerabilities people have. The damage done in these situations isn't just financial, it's psychological. Your mom might feel seen for the first time in years. She may believe someone truly understands her, values her, listens to her. That belief becomes the hook, and from there, it only takes a few carefully crafted lies to open the door to manipulation. These criminals use kindness as bait. They're not stupid, they're strategic. They know what to say, when to say it, and how to make your mom doubt everyone else, including you. Silence is the accomplice here. Families notice something is off, but they don't want to offend or overstep. That hesitation gives the scammer more room to operate. If your instincts are telling you something is wrong, listen to them, speak up, ask questions, don't assume someone else will step in. This isn't about controlling your mom's choices. It's about protecting her from being used and left broken by someone who only sees her as a paycheck. This isn't just your mom's fault. It's not even just her fight. We live in a world where digital scams are more sophisticated than ever. Technology opens doors to connection, but it also exposes people to predators hiding behind fake photos, stolen identities, and convincing stories. If your mom is online and alone, she's a target. That doesn't mean you control her digital life. It means you get educated and involved. Start by asking the uncomfortable questions. Who is this person? Have you seen them on a video call? Why are they always in trouble but never able to meet? Why do they need money? And why from her? Real relationships don't live in the shadows. Real people don't avoid showing their face or keep coming up with reasons they can't meet. The longer you avoid these questions, the deeper your mom sinks into the illusion. Be prepared for resistance. She might get defensive. She might think you're just being dramatic. But if it comes down to upsetting her now or watching her lose everything later, you already know what you need to do. Collect what you can: screenshots, messages, payment receipts. Not because you're trying to shame her, but because you may need evidence to help law enforcement step in. The more you have, the stronger the case. This isn't just one family's issue. It's a growing epidemic. The more we talk about it, the more we take away the power of shame. People need to know they're not alone. Your mom needs to know she's not dumb. She's human, and you need to show up not just with judgment, but with action. That's how you stop a scam, that's how you save a family, and that's how you start turning pain into power. The truth is, scammers don't just steal money, they steal trust, dignity, and often a person's entire identity. What begins with sweet messages and promises ends in emotional devastation and financial ruin. These people know exactly what they're doing. They come in with flattery, attention, and affection, creating a false sense of security. They mimic love, friendship, and companionship so convincingly that the victim often doesn't realize what's happening until it's too late. It's not just about the money, it's about how deeply they're able to manipulate emotions to get what they want. When someone is being scammed, it's easy for outsiders to say, "How could they fall for that?" But it's not stupidity, it's loneliness, vulnerability, and the very real human need to feel connected and loved. Many of these scammers spend weeks or even months building a relationship that feels sincere. They find out what the person wants to hear and feed it back to them like a mirror. It's strategic and deliberate, and the emotional damage it causes is long, lasting. The worst part, most victims don't want to believe it's fake, because the lie feels better than the truth. What makes it even harder is that the victims will often defend the very person who is hurting them. That's how deep the manipulation goes. They'll make excuses for them. They're going through a hard time. They just need a little help. They love me. This is the power of emotional fraud. It hijacks logic. It turns caring, intelligent people into protectors of their abuser. That's why confronting someone being scammed has to be done carefully, with patience, not judgment, and with compassion, not condescension. One of the most important things you can do is gather facts, keep track of conversations, look at payment records, pay attention to any requests for secrecy or urgency. Scammers always thrive in silence and speed. They'll say things like, "Don't tell anyone," or "It's urgent, I need the money now." These are red flags. Real emergencies don't require secrecy, and real relationships don't rely on guilt and pressure to get financial support. The more you can show the pattern, the more likely it is that the victim will begin to see it too. When you decide to speak up, expect resistance. People don't want to believe they've been fooled. It's humiliating, and shame is a powerful emotion that makes people shut down. You need to approach the conversation from a place of love and concern. Don't lead with "You're being scammed." Lead with "I'm worried about you. Can we look at this together?" Create a space where they feel safe enough to question things without feeling stupid or attacked. That's when real awareness can begin. Once the scam is exposed, it's not over. There's emotional recovery that has to happen. Your mom will likely feel embarrassed, angry, and heartbroken. She may question her judgment or feel like she can't trust anyone again. That's when she needs support the most. Remind her that this doesn't define her. She's not weak. She was targeted, and the fact that she was able to come out the other side means she's stronger than she thinks. Healing takes time, but it starts with truth and acceptance. Finally, understand that this is more common than most people realize. Millions are affected every year, and the stigma only makes it worse. The more we talk about it openly, the less power these scammers have. It's time to shift the narrative. This isn't about shame, it's about awareness. It's about protecting the people we love and making sure they know that even if they fall, they're not alone. What matters now is what we do about it and how we come together to stop it from happening again. If your gut is telling you something's wrong, it probably is. Families often notice subtle signs, changes in behavior, unusual secrecy, or sudden financial stress, but they hesitate to speak up. There's a fear of being wrong, of offending someone, or creating unnecessary tension. But silence in these moments doesn't protect your loved one, it protects the scammer. These predators count on you staying quiet. They rely on that silence to maintain control over the victim, to continue spinning lies unchecked, and to keep the scam going as long as possible. Speaking up isn't about accusing or confronting with anger. It's about reaching out with care and concern. It's sitting down and asking the tough questions without blame. Can you tell me more about this person? How well do you know them? Have you seen them face to face? These conversations can be uncomfortable, but discomfort is a small price to pay if it means protecting someone from a devastating outcome. When you speak up, you give your mom a chance to see what she might have been blinded to. It's easy to underestimate how deeply someone can fall into these traps. The manipulation is slow, deliberate, and expertly done. Scammers use psychological tactics to build dependency and isolate their victims from outside voices. That's why your voice matters so much. By showing up and asking questions, by gently challenging the narrative, you help break that isolation. You provide an alternate perspective that could plant the seed of doubt your mom needs to start questioning things for herself. People often think intervention means dramatic confrontations, but it can be much simpler. It can mean checking in regularly, offering emotional support, and letting your mom know she's not alone. It can be asking if she'd be willing to talk to someone, may be a financial advisor, a trusted friend, or even law enforcement. The goal isn't to embarrass or shame her, it's to surround her with care, clarity, and truth. It's about making sure she knows that you're on her side, even if she can't see the danger just yet. It's also crucial to remember that even if she resists at first, that doesn't mean she isn't listening. Victims of scams often feel torn between what they believe and what they fear might be true. Your words might not take effect immediately, but they could be the lifeline she clings to when things start to unravel. Don't give up after one conversation. Keep showing up, keep asking, keep caring. Persistence can be the key to breaking the scammer's hold. Timing and tone are everything. Choose moments when she's relaxed and open. Speak calmly and without judgment. If she feels attacked, she's likely to pull away and dig deeper into denial. But if she feels supported, she's more likely to trust you enough to consider your concerns. Trust is the bridge to truth, and you build that bridge with patience, empathy, and consistency. The more she feels your care, the more likely she is to hear your warning. Speaking up might feel risky, but staying silent guarantees nothing changes. When you speak, you offer your mom a lifeline out of a situation she may not even realize is dangerous. You become the voice that cuts through the lies. You become the one thing the scammer can't control. And in that moment, you become the hope she didn't know she needed. We need to stop blaming the victim. Being vulnerable doesn't mean being foolish. When someone is targeted by a scammer, it's not because they're unintelligent or careless. It's because they're human. Everyone has emotional needs, especially when they've gone through loneliness, grief, or isolation. Scammers prey on those exact emotional gaps. They present themselves as kind, attentive, and emotionally available. They listen, they validate, and they offer comfort. For someone who's been overlooked or emotionally starved, that can feel like a breath of fresh air. These manipulators are highly skilled. They operate with scripts, strategies, and experience. Many of them have done this hundreds, even thousands of times. They know what works. They know what to say, when to say it, and how to appear credible. They build false intimacy at a pace that feels like real connection. In fact, these fake relationships often move faster and feel more intense than authentic ones, and that intensity is what hooks the victim early on. Once the connection is made, they gradually introduce stories of hardship, loss, or sudden crises. These stories are designed to create urgency and guilt. I need help, and you're the only one I can trust. That sentence alone can cause someone to act against their better judgment. They think they're helping someone they care about. They think they're being kind, supportive, and generous. What they don't realize is that they're being systematically manipulated by someone who never cared at all. This is why blaming the victim is so dangerous. It shuts down communication and reinforces shame. When a person feels judged or mocked, they're far less likely to speak up or seek help. They might even go deeper into the scam to prove everyone else wrong. That's how the con artist wins. The victim ends up isolated, ashamed, and financially devastated, while the scammer walks away without consequence. Instead of blame, we need to offer understanding. We need to create a safe space where victims feel comfortable talking about what happened without fear of ridicule. Empathy is a far more powerful tool than judgment. It opens the door for truth to come in. It gives the victim a chance to see the scam for what it really is, without having to defend themselves against blame and criticism. It's also important to shift the conversation from "how could you fall for this?" to "what can we do to protect others from this happening again?" When we focus on learning and prevention, we turn a painful experience into a source of strength. We empower victims to reclaim their confidence, to recognize red flags in the future, and to become advocates for others who may be at risk. Everyone is susceptible to manipulation in the right circumstances. Scammers know that. They're not looking for a certain age or IQ. They're looking for emotional access. If we can start treating scam victims with the same compassion we offer to victims of any other kind of abuse, we can begin to dismantle the shame that keeps so many people silent. And when the silence breaks, that's when the healing begins. Your mom isn't the problem. This system that allows scammers to operate freely is. But what you can do is educate, intervene, and create a plan. This isn't about confrontation, it's about protection. Expand it into 7 paragraphs without bold and italic text, also without headings. Your mom isn't the problem. This system that allows scammers to operate freely is. Scammers take advantage of technology, anonymity, and international loopholes to prey on vulnerable people every day. They often face little to no consequences because they operate in digital spaces that are difficult to trace and even harder to prosecute. Law enforcement is often overwhelmed, and platforms don't always act fast enough to prevent abuse. The digital world has opened a floodgate of opportunity for these criminals, and they're exploiting it without hesitation. While it's frustrating to realize how little is being done on a systemic level, that doesn't mean we're helpless. The most important thing you can do is educate yourself and your loved ones, talk openly about common scam tactics, fake identities, rushed romances, sudden emergencies, and requests for money. Help your mom understand what emotional manipulation looks like online. The more informed she is, the harder it becomes for someone to pull her into a dangerous situation. Intervention doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be a confrontation or an accusation. It can be a conversation, a shared article, a gentle question. It can be checking in more often, encouraging openness, and showing concern without sounding controlling. The goal isn't to scare or shame. It's to build awareness and create a space where she feels safe being honest about what's going on in her life. That space can be the difference between catching a scam early and falling deep into it. Creating a plan together can empower your mom instead of making her feel attacked. You can suggest ways to verify someone's identity online. You can recommend never sending money to someone she hasn't met in person. Set some ground rules about online communication, especially when emotions are involved. Walk through examples of red flags and scams together. The goal is not to take away her freedom, but to make sure she can protect herself without fear or confusion. You might also consider involving a third party, like a trusted family member, a counselor, or even a financial advisor. Sometimes hearing the same message from more than one person helps build clarity. A professional voice can also add credibility and remove the emotional charge that often comes with family discussions. This approach isn't about ganging up on her. It's about giving her a support system that's strong enough to push back against the lies she may be hearing from a scammer. It's also important to protect your mom's digital and financial boundaries. That may mean checking in on her accounts, setting up fraud alerts, or helping her create strong passwords. It could include reviewing her email and message settings or teaching her how to spot phishing attempts. Technology can be intimidating, especially for someone who didn't grow up with it, but with your help, she can learn how to stay one step ahead. Giving her those tools puts control back in her hands. Ultimately, your role is not to control her, but to stand beside her. She needs to know that your concern comes from love, not judgment. When she feels supported rather than criticized, she's more likely to listen, more likely to reflect, and more likely to reach out if she begins to have doubt. Protection is not about taking over, it's about walking with someone through uncertainty, offering knowledge, and being ready to catch them if they fall. Protecting your loved ones sometimes means being the bad guy in the moment. It means risking a difficult conversation or a strained relationship for the sake of preventing something far worse. When someone is being scammed, especially by someone they believe they care about, they may not be ready to accept the truth. Your mom might get angry. She might accuse you of being controlling or jealous. She might tell you that you just don't understand. But underneath that anger is fear, the fear that everything she believes might be a lie. It's natural for her to defend the scammer, especially if she's emotionally invested. To her, this person feels real, the connection feels genuine, and when you come in questioning it, she might interpret it as a personal attack. That's why your approach matters. It's not about proving her wrong. It's about making her feel safe enough to doubt what she's been told. It's about letting her know that while you may not agree with what she's doing, your concern comes from a place of love. A little discomfort now is worth preventing a lifetime of regret later. It's better to have her be upset with you temporarily than to stand by while her finances, dignity, and mental health are destroyed. The pain of intervention doesn't come close to the devastation that can follow unchecked manipulation. You have to be willing to endure some temporary backlash to stop permanent damage. Sometimes love requires confrontation, not to hurt but to protect. This means choosing the right time and tone to speak up, not in the middle of a fight or during a moment of stress, but when things are calm. Use specific examples, not accusations. Ask questions instead of making statements. Why haven't you met this person in real life? Why are they always asking for help? These questions can gently pull her toward the truth without making her feel attacked or embarrassed. Even if she pushes back at first, your words can stay with her. They might echo in her mind the next time the scammer makes another excuse or request. Planting that seed of doubt can be more effective than trying to uproot everything at once. It gives her the space to arrive at her own conclusion, which often leads to a more lasting and meaningful realization. People rarely change their minds because they are forced. They change when they begin to question things themselves. Throughout this process, it's vital to remain consistent. Check in often, not just about the situation, but about her in general. Let her know you're there, no matter what. If she feels supported and not judged, she'll be more likely to come to you when things start to fall apart. When the illusion begins to crumble, she'll remember who stood beside her, not who shouted at her. That's what makes the difference in moments of crisis. Ultimately, protecting your mom from a scam is about staying close enough to guide her back to the truth without pushing her so hard that she shuts you out completely. It's a delicate balance of love, patience, and courage. Being the bad guy in the moment isn't easy, but if it means saving someone you love from pain they don't yet see coming, then it's a role worth playing. Even if she's upset now, one day she may thank you for being brave enough to care. Finally, this is not just your mom's story. It's happening everywhere, every day. Millions of people, especially older adults, are being targeted by scammers who have perfected the art of emotional fraud. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a widespread epidemic that thrives in silence and secrecy. The more we ignore it or pretend it won't happen to us or our loved ones, the more power we give to those who are exploiting others without remorse. The moment we start having real conversations, we begin to take that power back. Talking openly about scams, manipulation, and emotional abuse removes the shame that victims often carry. When someone realizes they're not the only one, it becomes easier to accept what has happened and take steps toward healing. It's not weakness to admit you were misled, it's strength to face it and take action to protect yourself and others going forward. Offering support instead of shame makes all the difference. Victims don't need lectures or judgment. They need understanding and encouragement. They need someone to listen to them without making them feel embarrassed or foolish. When they feel supported rather than attacked, they're more likely to share their experience, report the scam, and help prevent it from happening to someone else. Support is the key that unlocks recovery. Replacing judgment with action is how we change the narrative. Instead of pointing fingers, we educate. Instead of asking how someone could fall for it, we ask how we can stop it. We start programs to teach digital safety, hold platforms accountable, and advocate for stronger protections. Every small step, every shared story, every effort to raise awareness builds momentum in the fight against these criminals who count on people staying silent. This also means being proactive, not just reactive. Teach your loved ones to question things that feel off. Encourage them to talk to you before sending money or sharing personal information. Make it normal to double check, to get a second opinion, to pause before making decisions online. Empowering others to think critically is one of the most effective defenses we have against emotional manipulation and financial scams. At a larger level, we need to push for more education, stronger regulation, and better tools to detect and stop scams early. But change also starts at home. It starts with making sure the people closest to us are safe, informed, and supported. By protecting one person, we make the whole system a little less welcoming for scammers. We create ripple effects that reach far beyond our own family. This isn't just about stopping a single scam, it's about building a culture where honesty, awareness, and support are stronger than fear, silence, and shame. Your mom's experience, painful as it may be, can lead to something powerful. It can be the wake-up call that saves someone else. It can be the moment that turns vulnerability into strength. And it all begins with one honest conversation, one act of courage, and one person who refuses to let love be taken advantage of.